Welcome. It's Money Monday. We have 64 participants strong already. We're going to have more in the next few minutes. So if you look down the participant list and see some or don't see someone that should be there, give them a quick text or a phone call and say, this is going to be a great way to start your week. You need to hop on the call. All right. We have got, I wanted to back up here to this slide. As I was looking for an update to some of my morning positive affirmations for my power hour, I saw this one and I thought, this is so true. I am surrounded by supportive and positive people who believe in me and want to see me succeed. That is true for every one of us. And one of the great people that surrounds us is none other than Michael Huggins and his beautiful wife, Vanessa. These are two people that they are there to support us. They want us to succeed. They want us to be the best we can. And you know what? They know how to be successful in real estate. They know how to be successful entrepreneurs. They know how to be successful trainers. And we're so grateful Michael's with us today. Michael, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ron. Welcome to the call, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for setting us up. And thanks for the kind words, Ron. I appreciate that. All right. So who learned something just now on that Money Matrix video about authors and networking? That was pretty cool. I had no idea. That's why it's so important to keep showing up and learning these new things. So last week we talked about a couple different announcements and shifts in where we advertise. I just want to quickly go over those because there are some new people online. And then we'll jump into the funding that we talked about on the follow-up slides and how to go over those with your guests, whether it's a one-on-one or you're running a group. So like Ron said, if there are people that you know should be here but they aren't, let's go ahead and get them on. And I'm going to switch over my screen real quick. All right. Funding. How many people are worried about and wondering about funding? So let's make sure we got more people on here. Remember, no IMA left behind. That's our rule around here. Okay, well, while we're grabbing more people, let's remember that the follow-up that we do, that we're training you on and having you do with your customers and your clients, is really like part B. It's like, hey, I have this exposure for you. Here's part A, here's part B. Instead of here's two events, you need to come to one event and then event number two. In my mind, it's all one thing, and then we just have part A and part B because we don't have enough time to cover it all in an evening, right? If we wanted to do it all in one day, we totally could, easily. And I know a lot of times when Scott goes to a new city, Scott Rowe, he will go and help his team do just that. They'll do a part A and a part B. So the reason I'm calling it part B instead of part two is because you're not finished if you've only done part one or part A. You need to do the second half of the conversation with your customer. And in that second half is money. Where's the money coming from? How does the money work? How much will it cost? How much do you have? Gimme. Something like that. You got a question? Somebody had a question? Maybe? No? Okay. So.
Michael?
Yes, good morning.
Your screen's blank.
Good morning, Michael. I don't know, my screen's blank. Is everyone else the same or is it me?
Let me do something.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just a black screen.
Okay.
Good to everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
There it is.
Cool. Okay. Teamwork, dreamwork.
It's on now. You got it.
Perfect. So part A and part B, instead of event number 1 and event number 2, if they're A and B and you haven't done B, you're not finished. But too often people go, well, I got the first one done, so now I just need to get my follow-up done. And I don't think about them as separate things. I think about it as the continuation of the conversation, right? We got a conversation that starts and ends after we've covered who we are, what we do, how to pay for it. Here's our earnings plan. Here's our awards. Here's this. Here. Like, we got to have the whole conversation. But too many IMAs, broke IMAs anyway, just stop right here. This is where broke IMAs stop. And the other IMAs that make money push the conversation and finish to part B. And guess what? By the end of part B, most people want what we have. They just made assumptions in part A. So in part B, so far anyway, we have 3 main points. Demo the education, demonstrate. So you have demonstrate training, which in a group setting is pretty easy. In a one-on-one, you really have to just kind of give them a tour of the website. So I'll just call that website tour. Then we're going to go over the systems and support. So they're going to see what they're buying. They're going to see, so here's what they're buying. Here's how it's going to work. And then the how for the system, and then the how for the money, right? The funding. So what is it? Systems and support and funding. So we've already talked a ton on the other 2 videos on this topic about the training, the website tour, the systems and support, how to explain it, what I say on each slide. And now we're going to talk about the funding portion of that. And so remember, funding is a part of part B of the whole conversation. So someone's like, nah, I've decided it's not for me. Yeah, well, you decided before you got all the information? Every once in a while we'll get someone like that halfway through part A, they're like, oh, this isn't for me. It's like, how do you know? But then other people say that's not for me, but they'll stick to the end of part B and they'll go, oh my God, this is totally not even what I thought it was. And so since all of you have had that experience, I could spend a few minutes and have you all type in the chat, yes or no, if what you learned after the follow-up changed your assumptions at the beginning of the meeting. It happened to all of us. It's going to continue to happen to your guests. So just keep pushing them through the system and say, hey, man, we got to go over all the parts before you make a decision. So here's the whole premise. All this stuff that we're covering, all this information is to make a better decision. So I say this throughout the meetings. We're giving you this information so you can make a better decision. So that's also, a great reason why you should go to get funded online. It's just more information so you can make a better decision. I'm going to give you the website tour so you have more information so you can make a better decision. Because as salespeople, we don't convince and we don't make decisions, right? We collect decisions. Right? I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to collect your decision on what you want to do. So it's about information. It's about decisions, and just keep it that simple. Okay, guys and gals, let's keep it simple. So getting into the funding now. Oh, real quick. I told you we were going to review the announcements. So Renatus started a new thing called Renatus Cares, and hopefully some of you guys have already gone in and sent him some messages. This is for birthdays and deals and 5 stars and anniversaries and marriages and babies and deaths and illnesses and failures and successes and everything. Just, we're not as carers, we're not supposed to know and promote you and tell you a good job and let other people know about our community. So when those things happen, please just send a quick, it could be 1 or 2 sentences. It could be a whole paragraphs, but just send it over and keep us in the loop with what's going on. Also, if you would like to be showcased as a student success story for our website, then all you need to do is send a picture, a couple pictures, high resolution pictures of your deal, and a paragraph of who you are and a paragraph of what the deal is over to customer service at myronadas.com, and you can be a part of the program. Then the other thing is the industry cleanup that is happening. We need to be mindful, not fearful, but mindful of what's going on, and that we are not MLMs, we're not business opportunities, we're not franchises, and we're not colleges and universities. We're direct sales. So because of direct sales, there are certain disclosures and disclaimers we have to use when it comes to you talking about the amounts of money that we make. So remember that we need to change. So we even though we're in direct sales, we've been lumped into this no deceptive selling practices initiative. And so what that means is all 5 of these segments of the industry cannot advertise employment. None of us, no one. No advertising cannot sound like employment, can't look like employment. So that means you can't use words like full-time and part-time. Okay, we can't use words like interview. But yes, we can use things like spare time, and we can use things like get acquainted. Right? This is some spare time work, so why don't we hop on the phone and get acquainted? Instead of this is some part-time work, why don't we hop on the phone and do an interview? You have to change your language because we are setting the industry. We want to be the people who every other company is measured up against. So I'm going to keep it clean. So that means no Craigslist, KSL, Indeed, employment, none of that stuff. No. If you got any questions on that, let me know. But the good news is Bob Snyder has spent several hours putting together some trainings to where all you have to do is copy and paste. Go into the trainings, copy and paste the headlines for ads, the body of ads, the conclusions and the wraps and the taglines and the carry-ons and the this and the that's, and they're all built in for the Drive system as well. So if you're looking for more language to attract a certain type of person, that's all in the training that Snyder and Woodward did. It's in your Helios, so go ahead and find it and watch it and get some new ideas. Stop using old ideas. Get some new ones. Okay? And when do we need to use disclaimers? Now, when I was thinking about this after we finished, I wanted to draw one thing here. Is it true, and is it true for everyone when it's about money? Okay. So I used a different example last time, and I was like, hey, when you're telling someone you could get lifetime membership, is that true? Is it true for everyone? Okay. But that's not in the same category. It has to be about money. So can you make $10,000 on a referral fee? Yes. Is it true? Is it true for everyone? Yes. Then you don't need to use a disclaimer. But if you say, I made $100,000, is that true? Yes. But is that true for everyone? No. Then you need to use the disclaimer. Okay? Okie dokie. All right. I think that's pretty straightforward. All right, now let's get into this funding. So these slides, how they show up is how I took a screenshot, and then I'm going to write in what I do to edit them to update them a little bit. Okay. Cool. So as we're moving through the meeting, from the very beginning of the meeting, I talk about we have funding options because people are always wondering, where the hell am I going to get the money? I want them to be super creative, or I want them to be craving the funding options portion of this. Okay, so I say it many times, we got funding options. I'm excited to share them with you. We got plenty of ways to fund it. If you don't have the money, I hope you guys are emphasizing this with your guests too. When they think, oh, I don't have the money, so I no have. I don't have money, so they start to shut down. Actually, I'm going to draw it this way. When people say I don't have the money, and they're thinking about money for their education. Now, we also know that there's money for deals, right? So when people say, I don't have the money, I say, no problemo. That's because, or the reason why that's not a problem is because we teach about how to find money in our training. In our training is how to find money. So when you're like, well, how do I find the money? I can't find the money. I can't do this. I don't have any money. You got to remember, we're a training company. We're going to train you on how to have money. So if you're sitting out there going, I can't do this because I don't have any money, then would we be a pretty crappy training company if we can't get you 20 grand to get the program, you know? But we're going to help you get 200,000 for real estate or 2 million for real estate. So the good news is raising 2 million, raising 200,000, raising 20,000, it's all the same process. So we can help you find money for deals, just like we can help you find money for your education. We're an award-winning company. Of course we can help you find the money, okay? And then everyone goes, okay, and smile and they get it. And they drop that, I don't have money. I mean, that's what we train on, right? If someone says, I don't have money, say, good, take my training and you'll find the ways to fund your deals. So don't let people say, I don't have the money. You say, if someone says, I don't have the money, you say, I know. Quit saying that. Let's move on. Let's talk about having money, right? Like sometimes I'll get annoyed at my customers when they say I don't have money. But gosh, that's why you don't have money, is because you keep saying I don't have money. Now, if we're going to keep hanging out, I want you to change it to I'm experiencing a temporary cash flow challenge. So the first slide lists out the ideas. Then the next slide that comes up says cash or credit. Now remember, when the new pricing comes out, they're going to get a $500 to $5,000 discount if they pay in full. By paying in full, a one-time payment, they're going to save that money. But for now, take that line out of the slide. Okay, so when I put this slide up, it's just cash or credit you currently have available. And I point out, I say, now that you know velocity banking, you can use your credit card differently. See, now you know velocity banking. Some people will say, oh no, I can't. I don't have the money. I'm like, you have 30,000 in credit. And I go, yeah, but that's debt. I don't have the money to do this. And they say, okay, but you remember velocity banking? Yeah. Remember the example? Yeah. Okay, so if you put 20,000 on your credit card and you do it that way, you're now doing things the way the wealthy people do it. So now you know velocity banking, you can use your card and pay it off fast. You use your credit card now and pay it off fast. So some of you already have the money to do this, so let's just do this. And depending on the size of the room, I might go around and ask different people. You know, if the room is between 5 and 20 people, I'll go around and ask everyone, do you have credit for this? Do you have credit for this? Do you have credit for this? Some people say yes, some people will say no. But we're trying to desensitize people to money conversations. Okay, now the next slide that's in the packet will be this slide, the retirement fund slide. So what I've done is I've added a line. I decided right here to add a line that says borrow 50% up to 50,000 for 5 years at 5%. Okay. And then because I'm standing in front of a whiteboard, I'll draw out a little example. But you could also, if you're good with PowerPoint, just put this little example in the next slide. And if you make a slide, send it to me. I want it. But here's what I draw. I say, for example, what, and then I'll look around the room and I'll go, do you have a 401k? Do you have a 401k? And I'll wait to find someone who has a 401k. And if they don't have a 401k, then I back up. But let's say I find someone who's like, yes, I got a 401k. I say, great. If you, check this out. What if you have 60,000 in your 401k? How much can you borrow? And I train them, we got to make sure they know you are borrowing the money. You are not doing a cash out. You're not doing a distribution, simply borrowing. Well, we could borrow 30,000. Yes, you can. So if you do that, you can use 20 use 20 for your education. What do you have left over? You have $10,000 left over. Now this $30,000 loan has a payment of about $500 a month. So right now, in your household, you have your income and your expenses. Right? Your money comes in and goes out. There's your expenses. If you use your 401k and you set it up this way, this $500 will not affect your cash flow because this $10,000 we're going to use to make your $500 a month payment. So if you had $3,000 in and $2,500 out before we met you, and then you sign up and use your 401k, you do it this way, guess what? It won't change. You still 3 in, 25 up. It's not going to cost you any more to do it this way. It's not going to cost you any more on a monthly basis to do it this way. And I wait for the aha moments in their faces. You get it? Does this make sense? And they go, oh, okay. So I have 2 more examples for retirement accounts. So here's another idea. Let's say you have 100,000 in it, or 200,000. How much can you borrow? You can borrow 50,000. So here's what smart people have done in the past once they've learned this. When they pull out their 50,000, well, check this out. This is what a lot of Americans do. They have a car that they finance. You know, they got a $600 a month car payment or truck payment, whatever. But they think it's normal because everyone else is doing it. And so think about this. If you use $20,000 for your education, you'll have $30,000 left over. If you use that money to pay off your car, then what you can do is take that $600 a month and put it back in your 401k. So now you have a liability with no debt on it, or no bad debt, because the interest rate is something you are earning. So now you were already spending that money going out of your pocket, but now it's going back in your retirement account tax-free. So that frees up some cash flow. You also paid for your education, and now you're just replenishing it, and you're going to use the money that you were spending on the car payment to make the payments back to your 401k, and you're good to go. See, and it doesn't have to be a $30,000 car. It could just be $5,000 bucks, but it'll still free up cash flow. Okay, then the last idea is, let's say someone has $10,000 in their 401k. Well, they can only borrow $5,000. So I'll circle back. This is why I'm doing it in a different color. I'll circle back to this point about 401ks after I've covered UGA. So say, all right, you could borrow $5,000. So what you could do is put 4,000 down, okay, and then you'll have a monthly payment of $575. But the good news is you still have another $1,000 to buy 2 months of payments. So over the next 2 months, you start rearranging things, you fix your credit, you change your velocity banking, you free up cash flow in other places, and you're off to the races. You're good to go. So even if someone only has a couple grand in their 401k, they can still buy a combo. Okay, questions, ideas, aha moments, concerns about 401ks before we move on? You can come off mute, you can type your question, you could send your question via telepathy, and during my sensitive moments, I'll be able to pick up on that. ESP. No questions? Okay. Lee, no questions? Brenda, no questions? Doug? Eloy, is this making sense?
No question, Michael.
Okay. Well, if we're good, then we're good. So let's carry on. So last week, we had about 20 people at the follow-up room, and 8 of them were guests. So I go around the room and I ask them, do you have 401k? Do you have 401k? Do you have 401k? No one has a 401k. Do you have good credit? Do you have good credit? No one has good credit. Okay, guys, so we're actually going to speed this up a little bit because some of the things you're just going to have to change how you understand money. If all of you do not have 401ks and good credit, basically you need this side lesson. So pay attention because you're going to need to have this conversation a lot to help people do what I did to get my combo. So remember, I had to borrow someone else's 401k to do it. Now, okay, so then what I'll do, I'll pause and say, all right, everyone, actually I want to change topics real quick. Or not change topics, but I want to bring up something before we move forward. And that is this idea about success. And then I'll ask, has anyone read the book, The 4-Hour Workweek? 4-Hour Workweek. Some people have, some people haven't. And I say, well, doesn't that title compel you to read it? 40-hour workweek? No way, 4-hour workweek. So anyway, the guy who wrote it, his name is Timothy Ferriss, and he's a New York Times bestseller. He's a mega millionaire. He's an inventor. He's a scientist. He's a Princeton graduate. The guy's a genius. He's an incredible entrepreneur. And when I read that book, I saw a difference that people need to be making and something that's been working for me. So here's what he said in the book. He says, your success is dependent upon your willingness to have uncomfortable conversations. So when I put that out there, I'm putting it out there because basically no one in the room is going to be funding with their own resources. They're either going on UGA, which I want my team members to get paid cash, not payments. And payments are nice, for sure. But I want my team to get $10,000 checks. So we need to find the money, not this UGA Essentials, getting my guys a $200 check. No, man, my guys need $10,000 checks. So the people in the room don't have an ability with their own resources to get my guys and gals $10,000 checks, then we got to go have some conversations. So now I'm training these new leads, clients, prospects, guests on a success principle. So then I ask them, what does willingness mean? And I'm not going to answer. I wait for them to answer. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? Get a couple answers. What does willingness mean? Okay. What does it mean to you guys? Think about that willingness. Your success is dependent upon your willingness to have uncomfortable conversations. Okay? So that doesn't mean you have to have uncomfortable conversations. It just means you have to be willing. And these uncomfortable conversations are just potentially, quote unquote, uncomfortable conversations. Now, what makes them uncomfortable? And again, I'm saying all this in the room. What makes it uncomfortable is when we were little kids, and we asked about money to somebody, what did they say? They said, none of your business, or that doesn't matter, or blah, blah, blah. Something like that. And you got yelled at for talking about money. And so now our whole society for decades now is uncomfortable talking about money. So it doesn't matter that your friend is uncomfortable with it. You don't need to be uncomfortable with it. In fact, if you want to be a real estate millionaire, you're going to have conversations all day about money. So you got to get over this uncomfortableness about money, okay? And everyone's starting to nod, okay, you get it? So your willingness to have uncomfortable conversations. You have to be willing to talk to people. Is everyone at least willing to try something new and be coachable and stay coachable? And I enroll them in this willingness. Okay. So now that we know we got to talk to people, you have to know your value. And I'm doing all of this because the people in the room don't have their own personal resources to buy a combo from me tonight, but I need to sell combos tonight. So this is how it's been evolving. Okay, so know your value. The people in the room need to know their value. Right now they think, oh no, I don't have any money, I must not be valuable. So every transaction requires 4 parts. And I just draw this on the whiteboard. Time, knowledge, credibility, and money. And I put a little space after money. And then I draw a line. And I say, guys, it's broken up this way. There's a group of people that have time and knowledge, and there's a group of people that have money. And the group of people that have money are not going to put their time into a project or put their knowledge into a project. They put their money into a project. Well, we've established that you are on this side of the equation, which means you need to go and have conversations with people on this side of the conversation or table. There's no other way to do a deal than to have all 4 parts in here. So if you don't have the money, you got to go get it, but you have to know your value. So I'm building them up, helping them understand of the equation. If nobody shows up with knowledge, money doesn't grow. So money is dependent upon knowledge. So here you are at Renatus with us tonight, increasing your value, gaining more knowledge. You're also going to be putting your time into it, which has its own value. And then credibility and reputation. You're now joining an award-winning team of real estate investors. So you got a credibility and reputation that you can start working with. So now when you're going to talking to people about this business and this real estate investing industry, you need to know your value. So here's what I mean. Now I'm prepping them. When you go talk to your uncle or your aunt or your neighbor or your coworker or your mom or your girlfriend's mom, you do not make the mistake I made. There's a big difference between ask and offer. Okay? So we're still training them, guys. Guys on the line, listen to me closely. When your guests are sitting in the room or with you and they're trying to figure out, can I do this? Will this work? Will this work? Can I do this? All they're thinking is, if I had the money, I would crush it. So you need to give them tools, and when they see that you're actually training them and helping them with valuable, useful information, then they're going to go apply it and come back and bring you your $10,000 checks. So there's more training. How important is it, all of us, to understand the difference between asking and offering? We don't ask. Asking is repulsive. It's not attractive. The opposite of attractive is repulsive. So if someone went around to you and said, can I have some money? Can I have some money? Can I have some money? And you saw them coming down the street and they were doing that to other people. Can I have some money? Can I have some money? And they're just asking for money, asking. Can I have some money? Can I have some money? Can I have some money? It's annoying. Nobody likes asking for money. And guess what? No one likes to ask for money. No one likes being asked for money. It's just not a thing. So I am not telling you to go around asking for money. What I'm telling you is you have value. You need to recognize that value that you're bringing in your time and your knowledge and your credibility, and you're going to offer people that have money a place to put their money to make more money. So, I've spent about 10 minutes on the webinar on this topic, and I spend 10 to 15 minutes in the follow-up on this topic, because if they know their value, when they go around and start raising capital, they're going to be fearless about it. There's all the people who think they're coming from a place of weakness that don't do it. And if they don't do it, I don't get paid. So I got to get paid. You got to get paid. So they need to have some confidence and some tools and a new paradigm shift. If they were your student, what would you do? If they were already your student and they went around asking for money, you would train them and say, no, we offer. So if I'm already treating them like a student, then they can start to see themselves as a student and they'll go get the money to be a student. So I'm already treating them as if they're on my team. Does that make sense? By doing a training like this and helping them understand, I'm making sure I'm going to get paid, and then I'm also making sure that they're getting training. So when it's time to go find money for their deal, they've already known how to ask for money or offer money. They've already known how to go around and have those conversations. So the guests in the room can see the value in this exercise, and I hope you see the value in it as well. So now, what does the offer sound like? Now that we've established there's a difference between asking and offering, we've established that you have value and that every transaction requires the part that you're bringing, and that we have to have this willingness to have these sort of conversations. It's not a requirement, but the willingness is there at least. Cool. So, I just had an idea. I love ideas. Okay, sorry, I just have to capture it. There we go. Okay. This is an idea for another day that I can share with you. Okay. So now our guests are sitting in the room. Their excitement's going up. Their belief is going up. Their conviction is going up. Their vision is getting clearer on how this will work for them. And we've only spent 10 or 15 minutes on this topic. So now we say, all right, so now you know that you're going to go offer your side of the equation to people that have money. This is what it might sound like. Or on the topic of 401ks, you might be asking, starting this question, what rate of return are you earning? Hey, Ankh, what rate of return are you earning? And what rate of return would you like? See, so you got to understand at the beginning, if your uncle or your cousin or your aunt or whoever said, when you ask this question, if they say none of your business, well, you're an adult now, so you could say, why? Is it because you have so much you don't want to lose it, or because you don't have enough and you're afraid to talk about it? Because I want to help. I want to. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to work with you. I want to help. That's very rare, though. That's very rare. Most people will answer the question. Well, they say, well, I'm earning like a stupid 2%. What would I like? Oh, I'd like a 12 or a 10 or a 20. Okay, so then you're going to, once you find out what they like, if they say, 8, 10, 12, whatever, then you say, great, here's what I'm doing. I'd like to borrow $20,000 from you at 10%. I'm starting a real estate business. The startup cost is 20 grand. Whoever invests in me is going to get that interest rate. So if it's you, great. If it's someone else, great. Whoever's going to bring the money is going to get the value of my time and the knowledge I'm getting from the business I'm starting. And again, you'll use your own language with your own family members and warm market, but in a general sense, that's what it is. You're starting with questions because you want to add value. We're here to add value. So, and I put this somewhere on the whiteboard, this thing. I put it somewhere on the whiteboard where it's going to stay up the whole rest of the time. So I don't have to erase it, I don't have to move it, and I can refer back to it and point at it a bunch. Guys, know your value. When I tell you to go talk to your mom about her 401k, you're not asking her for her retirement account. What you're doing is saying, hey, before you get retirement age and you're ready to live off that money, can I use it for a moment? You're letting someone else use it, let me use it. So recognize your value. Now, it looks like this is going to go into day 2 of funding, which I think is important. I hope you guys are receiving some value with this. But let's talk about HELOCs as we're wrapping up to the top of the hour before I got to hop on the PAC call. So HELOCs, this is the slide in the downloadable presentation. So just remember, HELOCs are not created equally. And I don't know, so one thing I would recommend all of you guys do, I just realized, is bullet points. Add bullet points to your slides. Okay. Back to green. All right, so what I'll do with the HELOC, now that we've had that conversation around your own value and ask versus offer, we can speed up the rest of this. Okay, sorry, do not disturb. So with a HELOC, here's what we would do. With the same understanding that we're here to offer value and offer a way to make money, you start with the question and you ask, how much are you getting paid for your good credit? What do you think people are going to say when you ask that?
I don't know.
Yeah, people are going to say, one, they're going to say, how the hell do you get paid for good credit? And a lot of people are going to say, none, I've never even heard of that. So the reason why we start with that question is because we want to show a possibility that people can make money with their good credit, with their reputation. Remember how there's 4 ingredients in a deal? Well, they're credit right here. Credit, reputation. How much are they getting paid for this piece of the puzzle that they have? And they're going to go, can I get paid for that? That's weird. I didn't know I could get paid for that. Now you've started a conversation. So think about this. If we put a $20,000 charge on a HELOC, I'm going to use a HELOC. Could be yours, could be your neighbor's, could be your mom's. $20,000. What's an interest rate on a HELOC right now? 5%? 6%? I'll show you the difference. Let's say it's 5%. What I'll do is I'll ask someone in the room. Does anyone have a HELOC in the room? IMAs or guess anyone? Okay, someone's, oh, what's your interest rate? 4, 5, 6, whatever's in the room, that's the one I use. But let's use 5 for now. So if you go borrow your mom's HELOC, what is it going to cost? Well, 20,000 times 0.5 is $1,000. So that's an annual number, so we divide by 12, means it's going to cost $84 a month to use someone's HELOC or your own. Of course, if someone in the room, it's their own, it'll affect your cash flow by $84 a month if you put the $20,000 on your HELOC. So if your mom has a HELOC or your neighbor or your coworker and they're not making money with it, then why don't you ask them this question: how much are you getting paid for your good credit? And they say, what? I don't know I could do that. And you say, well, I've started a business looking for a partner, a short-term capital partner. So if you want to, lend 20,000, I know it's your bank's money, but guess what? I'll pay the payment to your bank and I'll pay you for letting me use your money. So I would happily borrow your money at 10%. So that way I'll make that payment to the bank, and then you'll make money off of the bank's money. So now you're making money off your good credit. They offered you currency because you have good credit, and now you're using it to make money instead of just spend money, which is what most people do. So now you as the customer, or the person sitting in the room, it will cost you $170 a month in this hypothetical scenario. Could you afford $170 a month? Well, what if it's your mom, and they're not worried about making this interest rate? Then it's only $84 a month while you're going through the program, while you're learning this stuff, and go do a deal and pay it off.
Michael.
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying that if they don't care about the 10%, then you can just leave it at 5% and just pay $84 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of offering them 10%.
Right.
Which means they'll get an additional 5%. They'll get 5% and the bank will get 5%.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah, so there's a fancy word for that. It's called arbitrage. And that's literally how banks make money, because they're only lending other people's money to other people. So they're making money off other people's money also. So we are doing this form of banking or a form of arbitrage by making money off the bank's money, which is the HELOC in this example. So when I'm equipping the guest in the room with this kind of language and these kinds of ideas, then they know what to say when their friend or family member asks them a question, and they know how to promote it and make it sound like a win-win, because it is. So spend that time, invest in your guests, and invest in the room so they have a new understanding of what's possible, because if I can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay? You look around the room and you say, guys, none of you have met Michael Huggins yet, but if he can do it, you can do it. For goodness sake, that guy was backwards in life and he figured it out, and he was willing to have those uncomfortable conversations. He was willing to go and talk to people, and now his success is undeniable. So, you got to use passion and energy and excitement when you're doing this stuff, and people will borrow your energy. Okay, it's past 9 o'clock. I got to get on the phone. You guys are awesome. Thanks for participating. Make sure to send these recordings out to your teams, and we will see you guys tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. See ya.